Hello there, and a very warm welcome. This guide comes to you from the team at My Tax Accountant. Today, we are going to talk about something that can cause a whole lot of stress for, well, pretty much anyone earning money in the UK, and that's sorting out past tax mistakes. We're going to break down HMRC's Digital Disclosure Service, or DDS, and show you exactly how it works as a clear path to getting your affairs in order. It's all about getting that peace of mind. So let's dive right in.
Come on, let's be honest for a second. It's that thought that can really keep you up at night, right? Maybe it was some cash from a freelance job or a bit of rental income you weren't quite sure what to do with. Or maybe you made some gains on crypto and just had no idea how to declare it. That little voice in the back of your head that keeps whispering, what if HMRC finds out? Yeah, that can be seriously unsettling. Well, this is exactly where the Digital Disclosure Service, or DDS, comes into play. To put it simply, it's HMRC's official online system for you to voluntarily fix any mistakes or things you might have missed from previous tax years. You've got to think of it as a lifeline. It lets you tell HMRC what's happened before they come knocking on your door. It's all about you taking back control of the situation and just drawing a line under it all. Okay, now let's get into why acting first is so important. When it comes to sorting out your taxes, there are really only two ways this can go. Either you tell HMRC or they find out on their own. And trust me, the financial difference between those two paths is, well, it's absolutely enormous. We are talking a difference measured in thousands and thousands of pounds. The whole thing really boils down to this: who makes the first move? If you come forward and voluntarily point out a mistake, HMRC calls that an unprompted disclosure. But if they contact you first, maybe with one of their famous nudge letters, it instantly becomes prompted. And as you can see here, the penalty ranges are just worlds apart. Coming forward yourself can slash penalties from a massive 100% of the tax you owe, sometimes right down to zero. Let's make this really clear with an example. Imagine a small business owner in London, maybe a marketing consultant. Over a couple of really busy years, they've been so swamped that they've unintentionally forgotten to declare £50,000 in profit. It's a genuine mistake, messy bookkeeping, being totally overwhelmed, but the tax is still owed. Now, if our consultant just waits and hopes for the best, and HMRC's super powerful Connects computer system flags a mismatch, well, things get serious fast. Let's say they're a higher rate taxpayer. The tax they owe on that 50 grand is £20,000. But on top of that, HMRC could hit them with a penalty of up to 100%. That's an extra $20,000 fine. Suddenly, they're looking at a truly painful $40,000 bill. But what if they take the other path? What if the consultant realizes their mistake and uses the DDS to make an unprompted disclosure? The outcome is completely different. For what's considered a careless error in the 2025/26 tax year, the penalty could be as low as 10%. That's a penalty of just £2,000 on top of the tax. That's an $18,000 saving. Let that sink in. 18 grand saved just for taking the initiative. It just shows you the huge power of coming forward first. So, you've decided to act. What's next? The really good news is that HMRC gives you a very clear, structured process to follow. This isn't some endless maze of paperwork. It's a manageable, 90-day action plan designed to get you from that feeling of worry to a final resolution. So let's break down exactly what that looks like. The whole thing really comes down to these 4 key steps. First, you just notify HMRC online that you're planning to make a disclosure. Simple. Second, you get a fixed amount of time to get all your ducks in a row, gather your bank statements, find your invoices, and figure out exactly what's owed. Third, you submit the full, detailed disclosure form online. And finally, number 4, you sort out the payment. It's a clear, logical path from start to finish. Now, what's really interesting is the timeline. After you first notify HMRC, they'll usually send you what's called a disclosure reference number, or DRN, within a couple of weeks. The moment you get that, a 90-day clock starts ticking. That's your window. Here's a pro tip. Use this time wisely. Seriously, don't wait until day 89 to start digging out your paperwork. Get started right away so your disclosure is as accurate and complete as it can be. Okay, before you rush in, it's absolutely vital to know if the DDS is the right tool for your specific situation. It covers a lot of the common tax headaches, but there are some really important exceptions. That's not all. Here's where most people go wrong. So let's get super clear on who can use this service and for what. If you look at the recent data, it's pretty obvious who this service is mainly for. A massive 85% of all disclosures come from individuals. We're talking about everyday people, freelancers, landlords with undeclared rent, people who made some investment gains they just overlooked. This isn't a tool designed for giant corporations. It's made for the vast majority of us who just need to get our records straight. So, what can you actually come clean about? Well, the DDS covers all the main taxes you're likely to run into. This includes income tax from things like freelance work or rental properties. It also covers capital gains tax, say from selling a second home or a big portfolio of shares. For limited companies, it covers corporation tax, and it can even be used for inheritance tax issues. And crucially, it also covers disclosures for any offshore income. Now, this next bit is just as important: what the DDS is not for. Stay with me here. This might surprise you. You can't use it to fix VAT errors. That has its own separate process. It's also not for employers who need to fix mistakes with payee. And most importantly, if HMRC suspects serious deliberate tax fraud and they've put you under what's known as a Code of Practice 9 investigation, the DDS is not the way to go. Trying to use it for these things will just get your disclosure rejected. All right, so you know the what and the why. Now let's get to the how. The experts here at My Tax Accountant have put together some absolute gold star pro tips to help you get through the process successfully and, most importantly, to keep your final bill as low as possible. Think of this as your playbook for getting the best possible outcome. This is, without a doubt, the single most important piece of advice we can give you. A nudge letter is basically a letter from HMRC saying, hey, we've got some information that suggests you might have undeclared income. And they get this info from everywhere: UK banks, letting agents, even crypto exchanges. Acting before that letter lands on your doormat is what makes your disclosure unprompted. And that is the #1 secret to getting the lowest penalty. And this chart just says it all, doesn't it? The average penalty for an unprompted disclosure is just so much lower than for a prompted one. We are talking about a difference that can easily run into the thousands. In fact, recent data shows that unprompted cases had penalties that were, on average, £3,500 lower. It literally pays to be proactive. When you make your disclosure, you have to be completely thorough and totally honest. Quick did you know for you? HMRC's Connect system cross-references billions, with a B, of data points to spot any inconsistencies. If they find out you've held anything back, all the benefits of using the DDS, like those lovely lower penalties, will be taken straight off the table. They might even open a much more intrusive investigation. A full, honest disclosure is your only ticket to a swift and final resolution. So what happens if you do all the calculations and you realize you just can't pay the whole amount in one go? First of all, don't panic. HMRC offers something called a time-to-pay arrangement. If your situation is fairly straightforward, you can often agree on a payment plan, maybe spread over 12 months without getting hit with extra late payment penalties. It's a vital tool for managing your cash flow, but honestly, having that conversation with HMRC can be tricky, so getting professional advice on this step is a very, very good idea. And that really brings us to the end goal of this whole process. It's about so much more than just numbers and online forms. It's about moving from that state of constant, nagging anxiety about your tax affairs to a feeling of genuine resolution and, well, relief. It's about finally drawing a line under the past and moving forward with total confidence. But hey, don't just take my word for it. Here's what Sarah, a freelance designer who went through the process, had to say. She'd underreported some of her earnings for a couple of years and used the DDS to get it all sorted. And her experience just captures the feeling perfectly. Facing the issue head-on, while it was stressful, was just so much better than the constant fear of being caught out. So the last question is really just for you. Are you ready to stop worrying? Are you ready to take that final step to resolve any outstanding tax issues? The path is clear, and as we've seen, the benefits of taking action right now are absolutely undeniable. Now, while the DDS is designed to be accessible, let's be real, tax can get very complex very quickly, especially if you're dealing with multiple years or different kinds of income. If you're feeling a bit overwhelmed or you just want to make absolutely sure everything is handled perfectly to get the lowest possible penalty, then getting professional help is a really smart move. The team at My Tax Accountant are experts in this field. You can reach them directly on WhatsApp or by phone at 078-54-255-375. Or just drop them an email at info@mytaxaccountant.co.uk. We really hope this guide has helped to demystify the digital disclosure service for you. For more clear, straightforward breakdowns of all things UK tax, make sure you subscribe to the My Tax Accountant channel. Thanks so much for joining us.